Hey everybody, and welcome to the first Sleeklens live broadcast that we're doing here on Facebook. We mainly wanted to do something similar to this, kind of like we do with a podcast, where we kind of talk about a topic, but it's just a live show. It's a live Q&A back and forth with the people who are tuning into the broadcast. So this is going to be kind of a fun little show that we got going on. So if you're out there in chat, feel free to say hi. I'm going to be covering a couple different topics when it comes to the Lightroom CC Classic, mainly just the Classic portion. Some of the recent changes that have been coming up, because there's still a lot of confusion when it comes to those changes. And one of the main changes is the difference between the two preset files. And so I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to kind of show a little bit of examples. But first of all, the way this show is going to play out for this first particular episode is I'm going to kind of go over a little bit what the show is going to be about here. And then I'm going to go over a couple different topics. I'm going to show you on my screen kind of some things that you can do to kind of understand the changes better. And then we're going to go over the new RAW edit contest. If you're not a member of the Sleeklens Members Club page, or if you haven't really followed us on Facebook in a while, we're doing a new contest, a brand new contest that we're just launching, where we supply you the RAW file, and you can interpret it any way you want to. You can do anything you want to that RAW file. And for that month, I'm going to get a whole bunch of submissions. We're going to go through the submissions at the end of the month and give the winner a free $50 Sleeklens gift card to get anything on the site. So that's kind of a fun little experiment. The submissions that have come in so far are really, really, really great, and I really love seeing them. It seems like new ones are popping up every day, so it's really, really awesome to see. And then at the end of the episode, I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of a free gift for joining in for this particular live stream, for this first live stream here, and it's only good for 1 hour. So if you're gonna get it, you got to get it while it's good. So let's go over some changes real quick to the Lightroom CC to kind of clear up some things, because kind of for the support section of Sleeklens, there's been a lot of confusion, a lot of questions that have come in about the presets not working, or there's a little dialog box that pops up when I first start it. So let's go ahead and jump over to Lightroom, and I'm going to show you kind of what I'm talking about when it comes to some of these changes. So here we are in Lightroom, and it's just the latest version of Lightroom. I believe it's 7.3.1. And it kind of looks the same as you typically would see it. But over here on the right side, we have this new section, which is the profile section. I'm kind of going to cover some of these changes first when it comes to the camera profiles. Then I'll jump in to the presets. So here are the camera profiles here, and these are a new change. The profiles actually used to be down here a little bit, but they moved them up here to be a little bit more present. And what these profiles are really actually kind of cool, because they're not like presets. They look like presets when you apply one, but it's just a different way for your RAW file to be interpreted. I kind of think of these as LUTs for video. It's kind of the same way. If you apply a color grading LUT or something like that, you're not really messing with a lot of the sliders, like the contrast, the saturation, all that kind of stuff. You're just applying an overlay basically to that image. And so the LUTs are kind of the same way, and these profiles are just as cool as those. So let me show you what I'm talking about here for just an example. So I have this camera profile section here. I'm going to click on this little tab here, and what that's going to do is show me all of my camera profiles that are loaded as of right now. So right now I have some of the latest profiles that are out there for the spring collection, the cherry blossom Lightroom collection. And as you can see, when I go over them and I apply them, or I'm not really applying them, I'm just seeing a preview of what they would look like. So for this particular image, this would be the before. And for this, let's say we want to apply this one, I click on there, and now this effect is applied. But watch what happens when we go back to the main basic panel here. None of these sliders are changed, so it's not like a preset where you're changing the individual exposure, the highlights, the shadows, any of that stuff. You're basically kind of letting Photoshop letting Lightroom interpret your camera RAW file a little bit differently, knowing what to do with the shadows, what kind of colors to apply. So it's a really kind of a cool effect, and you can increase the amount of the effect, you can decrease it. and it's a really great way to kind of give a different look to your photos without messing with anything over here on the right. So if I were to go over here and let's say I'd increase the shadows a little bit, you can see I can already start getting a really cool effect. Decrease the highlights a little bit, and maybe put a little bit magenta to it. And right now it starts to kind of look like a really neat image. I might warm it up a little bit, maybe a little bit more. And so just in a couple clicks with that camera profile, not even touching anything else down here, just the camera profiles and the basic panel, this is what we got. So just right out of the gate, we have a really awesome edit just by doing a couple little things. And that's just with profiles. That's not talking about any of the Sleeklens presets that we have over here. Just a really great way to apply cool effects to your photos in a different way. And so that's one really awesome change when it comes to the new update from Adobe when it comes to the Classic CC version. So I'm actually going to reset this here. Let me go back and I'll reset that here. So another one of the changes that has happened here is in regards to the presets is that now Adobe is using two different files or two different file extensions for their presets. It used to be an LR template file. That's what it's been for the longest time, an LR template file. And what that would be is a preset file you just load into the back end of your Lightroom, and it would go ahead and install in your Lightroom next time you update it, and you have your presets there. Now what they've changed over to doing is doing an XMP file, and there's really some good and bad when it comes to that. The XMP file is really great because if you have used Photoshop before, you're pretty much familiar with XMP files. XMP files are, let's say if you drag a photo into Lightroom or you drag a photo into Photoshop, it opens in Camera Raw, you do a couple little edits, and you click Done. And when you click Done or click open in Photoshop, something like that, you're going to get an XMP file. And what that does is that holds the changes that you've made to your photo in Camera Raw. And that's, if you were to just delete that XMP file, it'd be gone. All the changes would be gone. So next time you open it in Camera Raw, those changes would be out of there. So you can redo your file. So the XMP files are great in a way that they're a little bit more manageable. But what it did do is it kind of messed up a lot of people's Lightroom, and this is when it starts to become really confusing after a while. So let me show you a quick little trick here. So if you were to update, if you haven't already, if you were to update into your Lightroom here, and you open up your Lightroom, you're going to see a dialog box that says converting your files to XMP. And what that's doing is going into, let me pull up a window here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go to the Lightroom folder here, down here, Lightroom folder, and develop presets. This is where we used to store the Lightroom template files, or the LR template files. This is where they used to be stored. You take the folder that you download from Sleeklens or anywhere else on the internet, drag the presets out here, and this is where they would be stored. And you can see that here it is, LR template file right there. And so that's great. That's great how it used to be. But now they're using a different file, an XMP file. So basically, if you have this develop presets folder and you have the new version of Lightroom, you could actually delete everything in here and it wouldn't affect your Lightroom at all. But what it did do is, if you want to see if your LR template files or your old preset files were converted to the new XMP format, click on that develop presets folder, click in one of these folders, it really doesn't matter which one, and you're going to see a little symbol there right before this preset name. And what that means is that's the file that's been that's a file that has been converted to the XMP format. So technically, if I were to click right here and rename, I could take this little symbol away, just delete that, and now that symbol, it kind of moved down here, but that symbol, next time I open up Lightroom, it's going to convert this one again, even though I already have it. It's going to convert it again to the XMP file. That symbol basically means that's telling Lightroom, hey, this has already been converted, so don't worry about it next time you open Lightroom. So that's one quick trick to see if you really want to import all your other stuff again. If you have the feeling that you want to do that, that is a way to do it, just to delete these little icons there, these little symbols, and it'd be gone. But now they're stored in a different place. So this is in the develop presets folder. So if you were to go down here to This is in your Adobe folder here on your desktop or on your computer. Click on the Lightroom folder here, and you would see the develop presets, and this is where all your old presets were stored. Now they're stored in a different spot. So if you have trouble finding this different presets folder, there's a really quick and easy way to do it. We just go up here to File, and go up here to Preferences in your Adobe Lightroom and click on Show Lightroom Presets folder here. And that's going to open up the folder basically where we were, but you would open up in this particular path, the Adobe path, and you would click on the Camera Raw folder. When you click on the Camera Raw folder, this makes no sense when it comes to the knowledge of Lightroom, because you want everything to be stored in Lightroom. But Lightroom and Photoshop are now working more closely together when it comes to these presets. So what that means is basically it's a good thing for everybody who has a lot of presets and they want to apply folders or apply effects in Lightroom and Photoshop, is that now presets actually work with both Camera Raw and Photoshop, Camera Raw and Lightroom. And I'll show you what I mean in just a little bit. But if you were to go to the settings folder, here are all these presets that I have installed here. These were most of all the ones that were converted over from Lightroom and put into this folder. So let's go ahead and sort these here. So if we went back to the one that we were playing with earlier, you can see that these are all XMP files. Instead of LR template files, they are XMP files. And so now these are fit to work with the new version of Lightroom. So that's really great. So let me kind of go over into Photoshop, and I'll show you what I mean by they both use the same thing. So this is the new XMP file for Lightroom. So let me go ahead and go over here, and let me open this raw file here, or this particular image, in Photoshop. So I'm going to right click, go to Edit In, and then go to Edit in Adobe Photoshop CC. This is one way of doing it. If you pulled this image into Lightroom, or if you pulled this image into Photoshop directly, it'd look a little bit different. But I'm going to go up to Filter, and then I'm going to go to Camera Raw Filter. And here I am in Camera Raw. This is what this would look like if you pulled in a generic RAW file into Lightroom or into Photoshop. So I'm going to go over here to the preset section, and here are all these presets. So if you had a bunch of Lightroom presets before, now if you open Camera Raw, you're going to see all of those same presets over in this preset section. So now I can apply these same presets. So I can click over here. It's going to apply this preset to the image. You can see what it did there. Not a really great preset for it, but you can see what it's doing. It's doing the same thing that you would get in Lightroom. Then one other thing that you could do here is, let's go over to, let's go back down here. So you can see that these presets are kind of out of order, and that's what happened when Adobe kind of messed with the changes when it comes to all of these presets, is they kind of made them out of order. You have to go in there and apply a different script until they fix it to get them to rename. So it's going to be kind of a confusing thing. But one other thing that they changed in both Lightroom and Camera Raw is now this new live preview section. You used to not be able to see what the image looked like. But now if you hover over one of these presets, like this one, Modern Film 2, you're going to see a preview of what it would look like. So you don't even have to apply the preset to see what it looks like. Much like the Lightroom menu over here, the Lightroom section over here where it has the navigator, you would be able to see what it looked like before. But now you have this live preview of what it's going to look like as you're scrolling down here. So you're seeing it here and also here. So that's a really great way of seeing some different things that are going on with the changes in Lightroom and Photoshop. So that's a fun little thing to do to play with in Camera Raw. If you're more used to Camera Raw, if you're not really a Lightroom guy, which I don't know how you couldn't be a Lightroom person, because Lightroom is awesome. But if you're more used to Photoshop or Camera Raw, you still have some of the main benefits that you would get in Lightroom directly in Camera Raw. So now you have a whole lot more options to play with when it comes to presets. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to cancel out right there. And what else can I show you? I guess I'm going to show you how to install brushes, because much like I talked about where they made it very difficult for people who are running the new version of Lightroom and the old version of Photoshop, now they have it to where brushes are stored in the same spot that they were before, but the presets are stored in a different spot. And it makes it very hard when you're trying to install all these really nice workflows because you have to put presets in one section and then Lightroom brushes in another section. So again, a quick way to do that is to go back over here to File and then go to Preferences, and we'll go to Show Lightroom Presets folder. And you can see here we have the Lightroom Presets folder back where we were before. We're going to click on Lightroom. So again, we're not going into Camera Raw, which is where you would store the preset files now. We're going into Lightroom, and we're going to Local Adjustment Presets. This is where you would drag all of your brushes. Again, you can see these are LR template files. It's the same old format that we had before. So now instead of your brushes being XMP files, now they're LR template files. So you might see a different, a kind of a confusing thing when you download older presets. You're going to see presets that are all LR template files along with brushes that are LR template files. So it's going to be kind of confusing. So you have to know which ones are brushes to put in this local adjustments preset folder. So you want to make sure you put them in the right spot. So again, Lightroom made it very difficult and very confusing for those of us who download a lot of presets, who try a lot of presets, who use presets really, really heavily like myself. Now, when I download presets that are developed in a new version of Lightroom, they're going to be XMP files. So I have to put them in a different folder. If I download older preset files that are still LR template files, I have to put them in the old folder, the develop presets folder that we talked about. I have to put them in that file, and then when I open Lightroom, they'll be converted over to XMP files. So for those of you who actually downloaded the new Lightroom collection, the Cherry Blossom Spring collection, those were actually delivered in both the old format, the LR template file, and the XMP file format. So you kind of get best of both worlds there. So that's a really great way of showing kind of the differences between the two and the new conversions that are happening with Lightroom. So let me go back to my desktop here and go over here to Lightroom. So let me just run through one quick thing here. There's a couple collections that have come out lately that are really, really great, that I think that are really amazing. And one of them is the Miles and Memories collection, and one of them is the Cherry Blossom collection. I'm actually going to go to the Cherry Blossom one, and I'm going to click on this image here. And I'm going to just kind of do it like a real world edit with you guys so you can see what it's going to look like when you download the one of the new collections here. So we have the Cherry Blossom Spring collection. And what you can do here is you can kind of scroll through these all-in-one presets. The all-in-one presets are basically meant for like one quick fix. It's like, I need a quick edit real fast. Let me apply one of these presets and let me be pretty much good to go. So these all-in-one presets, that's kind of what they're meant for a little bit. You can see it's got kind of a whole range of stuff that's changed here. And you're not seeing anything over here because I'm not actually applying the preset to see it in this main section. You kind of get that live preview as we were talking about. But you can see I'm scrolling through here, seeing some of these really cool adjustments that we can make here. I saw one up here that I did like. Let me go. I think it's this one. Well, no. Let's go to this one. So we got this all-in-one blossoming. I'm going to click that, and you can see that it's going to make these changes here. And then we're going to go down to past the all-in-ones, and we have the base section. Base section is kind of like another section, almost like an all-in-one. It kind of gets some basic adjustments together to get your image started in the right place. So we have the base section here. I'm not really going to change anything with those because I kind of like the base changes that were made here. So you don't have to go in order, obviously. You don't have to go 0, 1, 2, 3 all the way down. You don't have to do that. You can just kind of mess around with it, play around with it, and get started in the right direction. So I'm going to jump down to the exposure, and I do want this one to have a little bit more contrast. So I'm going to click the exposure contrast 1. That's going to change the exposure a little bit, just kind of give that really nice punch there in the darks and the whites there. So we can also saturate it a little bit. We can desaturate it a little bit. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I kind of like a little bit of the desaturation. So I'm going to take the desaturation down a little bit. It's going to go down about -20. And then we have the effects section. You can actually do a couple different effects here, do some fades, do some sharpening, real quick sharpening, do a spotlight, which is kind of fun. Do some sunlight there, kind of mimics that sun coming in here. So there's a lot of different changes you can do on there as well. You can do a quick black and white conversion and do a couple vignettes. So I'm actually going to do a darker vignette right there. So for my particular taste, I actually, I'm going to click black and white there, yeah. So I'm going to change this one to a black and white here, but if I were to undo those two changes, we can go back to our kind of color image, so you can kind of see I had two different real quick easy versions, a black and white version and a color version. So let's say I like this particular image and I want to increase it a little bit more. I can do a little bit of dehaze. The dehaze slider is a really great option for doing a lot of different contrast adjustments as well, so that's really awesome. So I'm going to increase the dehaze a little bit and maybe increase the shadows. So not only did I apply a little bit of the presets, but also put my little spin on it as well. I was able to kind of finesse it a little bit more because every image is obviously going to be a little bit different. So that's a really great way as well. So this is our before and after. You can see this kind of has like that really cool moody, muted tone, which is really awesome. This was not a bad photo to begin with, but we just kind of spice it up a little bit, and it's just a really great collection. You can see that these are subtle changes. It's not going to completely overhaul your image and make it the most amazing image that you've ever seen with just like one click. These are subtle changes that you build upon and just keep building and building your own different style, building your own different editing effect that you can do with your images. So it's a really great collection. I really like that one. The Miles and Memories collection is kind of basically the same thing as far as the adjustments, the really subtle changes to the images there. So let's go back to this one that we were working on before. And let's open the Miles and Memories collection here. We have a couple little base sections here. You can see that these are out of order. And again, that's the Adobe update that happened. These are out of order. So hopefully they do fix that. But you can see, I can see a couple different changes I can do here to these images. I like that one, so I'm going to apply that all in one there. Let's see. Let's go down here to some of the bottom ones. Do a little bit of color pop as well. And let's do a warm pop. Let's try that one. And let's look at some different ones that we can shoot on here. It's hard when these are out of order. There is a way to fix it, but it's very confusing. But from what I heard from the Adobe reps, they are working on correcting that to make it all back to normal, back the way it was originally. But I kind of like that. I'm going to stick with that. So this is kind of what we had. We kind of lightened up the highlights again and made it a little bit warmer there, brightened up the mountain. So just a couple quick fixes, and this image is good to go. So those are just a really quick preview of the two new collections that we have, the newer collections that we have, the Cherry Blossom and the Miles and Memories. If you're really looking for those really cool, popular hipster changes, that's a really good collection to go with. It's a really, really awesome collection. Both of them are really great. I actually use, I mainly do real estate photography as far as a profession, as doing that on the side. And we have an interior Lightroom collection, but I use some of these for the exteriors actually. The exteriors of the homes, to make them a little bit more different, a little bit more set apart from the rest. I actually use some of those and kind of finesse them a little bit. So they can be used for a lot of different things, not just one specific style, and they're really, really great. So those are just a couple of quick changes that we were going to talk about in the new version of Lightroom that come out. It's very confusing when they do these changes of changing the templates, changing the extensions, having Lightroom convert the files over. It's very, very confusing, but you just kind of got to work around how the system goes. And it's a pretty easy edit once you figure out their system and the files they move to which folder and all that kind of stuff. It kind of grows on you after a while. After you play with it enough, you kind of understand their reasoning for it, because now Photoshop and Lightroom can use the same preset. So it's actually, you're getting two pieces of software that can use pretty much anything. So for those of you who really liked Photoshop and just hated Lightroom, did not want to go into Lightroom at all, you can still actually download Lightroom presets and use them in Photoshop or Camera Raw. You can use them in Camera Raw, and you still have those great effects that you can apply. They all use the same effects, so that's really, really great. So now I want to cover the Lightroom edit, or the Camera Raw edit, actually. The Camera Raw edit contest that we're going to do, or that we've been doing actually here. So as you can see here, we have the Sleeklens Members Club page. This is a private page. You have to ask to be a member of the page, and we really want you guys to join there. We got a lot of cool things going on there, but one of the things that we have is this special announcement here. So I'm going to switch over here and you can see we have a special announcement here that I posted, and it's a raw photo contest. So what you basically do is I give you a file. I give you a raw file. It's completely unedited, just right out of camera. And you take this photo and you do anything that you want to it. You can make it super realistic. You can make it super futuristic if you want to. You can do almost anything that you want to with this file. And what you do is basically after you've made your edits, you save it as a JPEG and you submit it as a comment right here. So you click here and you post the comment as an image, and you can see we have a couple submissions already. Really great submissions, and love seeing all these different versions. So for those of you who have done this so far, thank you guys for doing that. It's really great, and I love seeing all these different versions. It's a really great way to see people's different style when it comes to editing folders or editing files that not a lot of people get to see, because if you see one image, you're like, okay, that's how it should be edited. But now you get to see all of these other images that are really, really great edits as well. So if you are a member to this page here, if you go to Facebook and just search Sleeklens Members Club, you'll be able to find it there and request permission to join. But you'll see this post here, and to download this file, just click right here, and it'll take you over to the sleeklens.com page here, and you are able to click right here and download this image, and you can just start editing with it any way you want to. And again, post it as a comment back here. Post it as a comment back here. Post your image, and at the end of the month, we will go ahead and we will pick a winner, and the winner will get a free $50 gift card to sleeklens.com. And next month, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pick a different raw photo to edit, and we're going to do the same thing so we can keep seeing all these cool community member edits that are going on. It's really fun to see these. I really enjoy that. It's kind of like every time I get a notification, I run to my phone and look at these different edits. So it's really awesome. So again, for those of you who have submitted these edits on the page, thank you very much for doing that. Really great edits. Can't wait to see more. So I mentioned before we get out of here, before we end the show over these quick edits, I mentioned that you get a free gift for joining. So for those of you who have joined, who have checked out the live broadcast, what we're going to do is give away a free coupon code for just joining in, and it's only good for 1 hour. 1 hour, that's it. I'm only going to give this code for 1 hour, and then I'm going to shut it down. So for those of you who have joined in, if you want to use the code LIVE25, which again expires in 1 hour, if you want to use the code LIVE25, that gets you 25% off everything on the site, anything and everything, and you can feel free to use that coupon code to get 25% off. And again, 1 hour expires in 1 hour. I'm going to shut it down, and then you have to wait till the next time we do a live show to use it again. So for those of you who are out there in chat who are watching the show, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to wind this show down and kind of go over some of these edits again. So if you guys have any questions out there, please let me know. I don't see any questions coming in now, but I'll give it a second because I know there's a little bit of lag on this Facebook Live broadcast. So just gonna look over some of these edits here. We got some really awesome photos. These are kind of some of the photos that we use for some of our packages here our workflows that we get out. Really cool edits here. So let me click on some of these just to kind of play around with them. I'll be happy to answer any questions that I know how to answer. I feel like since this last update, I've been on the phone with the Adobe support guys a lot, trying to figure out this new update and exactly how things need to be converted and changed over. So it's been a very trying time being on the phone with Adobe this whole time. So it doesn't look like we're gonna have any questions this show, but again, we're gonna keep doing these shows. These are really fun to do, really fun to see the community come in and start watching some of these. So I'm gonna go ahead and wind this show down, but thank you guys for joining me in this broadcast. If you want to go over to sleeklens.com and check out anything we got on the site, any courses, presets, Lightroom actions, anything like that, feel free to do that. And again, use the coupon code LIVE25 and you'll get 25% off everything. If you see something that you like, you'll be able to save a little bit there. So thank you guys for joining me in this live show on this beautiful Thursday. I guess I'll see you guys next time we do this. We'll probably try to do this every week. If we got a good response here, we'll probably try to do this every week, and it'd be a fun little way to get to know you guys, the community. So thank you guys for joining me in this podcast, or this it's kind of like a podcast. It's kind of like a live show, though. Thank you for joining me in this live show, and I'll see you next time.